Is it true the biggest reason there were so many Italians coming here in the 50s was because of the war, the devastation of the war? Yeah.
Well, mostly, yeah, because of the lack of work,
Lack of work.
lack of infrastructure. Everything was down until
So,
it picked up in around the 60s. But that the most immigrant came from 1950 to 1960.
so what was it like where you lived during the war?
Well, I lived in a small town. It wasn't so bad, but they were. We had the one fountain, and they were in a town of 8,000 people. Were 20,000 refugees from the cities, and we all had to get water from the one fountain.
Wow. One fountain.
Yeah.
Wow.
You lined up 24 hours a day.
Huh.
Yeah. So this is not this condition we lived in it.
So you're saying close to where you lived there was a bigger city with an airport?
Yeah, it was a big city with an airport with a German Air Force, German base, and that was a deterrent because the American came in and they wanted to get rid of some of those planes, and so they, being a war, they took care of not only the plane, but a lot of people died.
You're saying in one day how many people bombing?
I don't remember, I can't, but it was a lot of people. I think it's something around 19,000 people
In one day?
in one day.
Killed with bombing.
Killed by bombing.
Were they those 1,000 bomber raids back then?
Oh, they were, I remember vaguely, but they were 40, 50 airplanes coming in every day.
Huh.
Try to pinpoint where, yeah,
Crazy, eh?
yeah.
So then it just wasn't easy to rebuild after the war, after all the destruction?
Well, it wasn't because it wasn't the money until the Marshall Plan came in, but that was a couple of years later. It came in when I was there. I heard about it, but it didn't start to implement it a couple of years later, and then things started to pick up a little bit and got much better. But also because so many the workforce left Italy, so the workforce was shrunk, and they were able to find more work.
So before the war, things were pretty good, were they?
Well, not too bad, but they started to decline when Mussolini came in, and he started to, to tax people to death,
Yeah.
and he wasn't a very good manager.
The military took over,
Yeah, the
eh?
military, the black shirts.
Wow.
Yeah,
So they sucked up all the money,
sucked up
basically.
all of the money.
Really?
Yeah.
For themselves, yeah. Yeah.
like all of the dictators.
Yeah. Them and their buddies.
Yeah,
Interesting.
there was no work, there was no money, there was no food. But we came here and we managed very well. We, after a year we were here, we bought a house. And then the rest is history. Then I worked for 10 years on one place. And then when I was 28 years old, I opened Magnet Hardware on Commercial Drive. And I'm still there 50 years later.
Did you call it Magnet Hardware?
Yeah, that's what it was, Magnet Hardware.
Really?
Yeah.
Why that name?
It was an existing name, I
yeah.
guess to attract people. I don't know what it was.
Right, yeah.
And I know that one thing I know for sure, that I heard that the previous owner than me they're not at the same place I am now, but we moved. But the previous owner, they were given a magnet away for Christmas. That's why they were given little kids a little magnet for Christmas. I never did that. It was way after me, way before me.
And you were saying back then Manitoba Hardware was still
Manitoba Hardware
the
was
big
the
store.
biggest store. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was much bigger than ours. It was about twice the size. Then we moved from a smaller location to a bigger location and became a lot bigger than them. And then we took a franchise, the Home Hardware franchise, and that flourished for us. It was just like night and day because all of a sudden we could compete.
You were saying you couldn't get television sets before.
Well, you can get a television, you can get
Or
a
lawnmower. Yeah.
Like Woodwards in those days, they were selling a lawnmower for the same price we were paying for. And then all of a sudden we joined a buying group and we kicked the heck out of them.
Is that right?
Yeah. So finally Woodwards closed. Well, not because of me, but that was one of the reasons, because they all of a sudden
Volume buying.
No, the whole market changed.
Yeah.
Everybody started to buy direct. They weren't the only one buying direct, and the market changed. So eventually, that was at the demise of department store. Really, when you think of it, all of them, because they didn't keep up with. I mean, you take for instance even Sears. at one point they had all of the tools, all of the power tools, all of the business for power tools in Vancouver was all Sears. And then other people can come around and buy them, start to buy them at the same place because the marketplace changed.
Yeah.
And so everybody was able to buy them at the same price, and they were doing a better job than the department store because they specialized in, well, you know,
Right.
it's like everything else. Market changes all the time.
Yeah. So you've seen a lot of changes.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
You're
A lot for the better.
You were saying cement finishing tools. You could.
Oh yeah. Well, we developed a demand for cement finishing tools, and we couldn't buy them cheap enough because you had to bring them from the States. By the time we paid duty, and they weren't really manufacturers; they were distributors there. And then Home Hardware came in, and I was able to buy them direct from the manufacturer. They were shipping direct to us because we were Home Hardware. The price was much better, so we had a fantastic tool business. But then that changed again because everything became in power tools. And there are very few end tools sold anymore like they used to be. No, we went into something else. We went in kitchenware. So you have to change with the time and whatever.
And now
whatever it
everything's made in China.
takes. Yeah, well,
That's quite a
well,
change.
Good quality end tools are still made in Canada or United States.
Oh yeah.
It's very hard to sell them because they're very high price, but
Yeah.
you still get demand for them. Not the same amount, but also because the trades people have changed. The European people, they were used to that kind of those brand name, and the new people are coming in now. They buy anything that is cheap.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. Well, that's interesting having to constantly adapt to the changing
Oh, you
world.
have to.
Yeah.
If you don't adapt in retail, you're dead. Like we used to sell 20, 30 lawnmowers, electric lawnmowers a week.
Wow.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, you can hardly sell an electric lawnmower anymore because all of the area is becoming high-rise and apartments and
Yeah.
a condominium that they have
Sure.
their own maintenance and nobody cuts grass anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
But we still do well with gardening.
Yeah.
We still have a fantastic garden shop. And we do quite well. But the life has been great in Canada. And
It's turned out pretty good, hasn't it? Yeah. And we
Well,
still
I-
got people coming here.
I could never dream that I would
Yeah.
do as well as I did.
You're saying you worked, installing cabinets for 10 years, eh? Yeah, in schools.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you kind of think your life is simple and straightforward, but running a business is a whole different thing,
Yeah,
eh?
but then there's a lot of more opportunities.
Yeah.
You know, when you work for wage, you take home your paycheck. I mean,
That's it.
I was well paid, but I was able to save some money to buy myself a business.
You did, eh?
Yeah.
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 Did you have partners back then, or?
No.
You did it all on your own, eh? Wow, good for you. Yeah. Really? So you just had this idea in your head that you could
I
have.
had an idea in my head. I was going to open up one from scratch, and then this little one came for sale, and
Yeah.
I heard about it, and I inquired about it, and a few people encouraged me to take it,
Huh.
and I did it.
So the whole espresso coffee thing, was that in Italy before you left, or?
Yes, it was there. Yeah.
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 And then Theo Grippo was the first one to
Well,
sort of.
Theo Grip was the first one to roast coffee, but the first cappuccino espresso coffee was Puffy Bar.
Really?
On the corner of
Charles.
First Avenue
Oh.
and Commercial,
Oh.
where the Red Burritos is.
Really?
Yeah, that was the first one open.
When do you think that was?
That was in 1952, 53.
Really?
And then they opened another one up.
At
and
Charles?
They called the Coffee Bar here,
Yeah.
not on Charles, is it? No,
Yeah, right
on,
here, this corner right
Kitchener,
here.
On Kitchener.
Was it? Not Marcello's building.
No, but where were they?
Well, that was right there.
Yeah. That's the Marcello building,
Yeah.
Kitchener.
Really?
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, came in, we started to get really big.